Today, we're going to talk about the elephant in the room, the void plaguing Night City, a seemingly black hole of nothingness where once stood the promise of hope. A hope for romance, and lots of it. And I'm not talking joybots, they don't count. No, I mean the beautiful stoic man that we spend a good portion of the story fighting alongside. The one who saved us from a landfill as an enemy at first, but then turned into a good friend. No, a great friend. Let me just say it. CD Projekt Red, where's my flippin' Takamura romance? Why did you dangle this wonderful man in front of me and then attach him to probably the worst possible ending, all the while stringing me along that one day we might be together? Why? Alright, deep breaths. So if you guys saw my first video, you'll recall that I was really interested in pursuing a relationship with Yorinobu initially. But, well, obviously that didn't work out. I thought we'd have some chance to bargain with him during the heist, but instead we wound up dead in a landfill. Thanks, Dex. So when at first I crawled out of the trash heap and saw Dex again, I was understandably confused. I thought he was coming back to finish the job. I was completely surprised to see Takamura, Saburo's bodyguard, standing there, and even more surprised when he shot Dex. Things didn't look too good for me as he spoke to someone on the phone, talking to an Arasaka, presumably Yorinobu himself, saying he'd found his father's killer. You pass out as Takamura drives away with you in the passenger seat, and when you awake, things have changed considerably. He asks for your help in defending against assassins that have been sent to kill not only him, but likely you as well, Yorinobu trying to cover his tracks as far as I could tell. After a narrow victory, the two of you are in bad shape and you suggest he bring you to Victor to get fixed up. While being driven there by Delamain, Takamura has to make some tough choices to save V's life, all while being pretty messed up himself. He then watches over you for days while Victor works his magic. He could have just killed you or decided to take you along with him as a bargaining chip to Arasaka, but instead he feels a sense of loyalty to you. Sure, there is still something he can gain from his involvement with you, but my point being that he didn't have to achieve it this way. It's a strange situation for sure, someone looking for you without the best of intentions, believing you the one who killed his master, Saburo, but during this whole chain of events I thought, well, if it's never going to happen with Yorinobu, Takamura is a pretty good consolation prize. I mean, he's definitely got the whole package for me. The looks, the accent.
Then, in the car, I doubted you would survive.
The silly misunderstandings about the area.
JJ Street. What is this name?
Just a Night City name.
And English expressions.
If nothing out of the ordinary happens, then yes, we go in.
Parables about sly foxes. I mean, to me, this guy was unbelievably hot, and I was really excited about what was to come. From this point on, I played through my whole game trying to lock in a romance with Takamura. I really didn't even care about the other characters or plot lines. I just wanted Takamura. And I won't deny, I was also interested to see where it would lead with Yorinobu as well, considering Takamura's ultimate plans. And when you like a character, I mean really like them, just being with them in the game makes you like the game that much more. I realize that sounds incredibly lame, but at the same time, it's not like you're going to enjoy hanging out with an annoying character. If Jackie had been obnoxious, nobody would have cared that he died. They would have been like, woo, finally. Just like those annoying little girl characters that they always throw into animes, the ones with the shrill, high-pitched voices, you just find yourself gritting your teeth every time they show up. But my point was originally that I really liked Takamura, and I really wanted to see what his romance would be like. When you first meet up again at Tom's diner, he is all business, looking for Evelyn Parker to get to Yorinobu. But as you try to leave, he places his hand on your shoulder, saying he needs you. While he mostly wants you to testify that Yorinobu killed his father, he also offers potential aid, a way to fix your biochip problem. He figures that since Arasaka made the chip, that they can help save you as well. It's not bad logic. And so it seems like a decent enough path to a solution that works for both of you. Even though I knew Takamura was on a revenge quest for his fallen master, it always felt like he genuinely cared about my V. He never once acted like a man who was just in it for himself. And honestly, even if he weren't promising me a fix for the biochip, I still would have helped him because the quest seemed honorable. There are so many ups and downs as you meet with Oda, who is the main guard for Hanako, Yorinobu's sister. He refuses to help you but mentions the parade parade coming up that Hanako will be in. As you drive to Wakako's, the first option to be truly personable with Takamura presents itself. You can ask, "How are you?" In fact, there are a lot more of these sorts of interactions, and it's interesting to hear that Takamura is not so used to someone caring about how he's feeling.
I apologize. That came off wrong. I am simply not used to such questions.
When you depart from Wakako's after getting the initial plan laid out to get to Hanako at the parade, you can tell him to stay safe.
Stay safe, Goro.
You as well. Until next time.
And these are not the sorts of things you say to somebody that you don't care about. When next you meet, it's at the bazaar, and here you can greet him again with a friendly, "Good to see you, Goro."
Goro, good to see you.
As it is to see you, V.
This whole pre-quest has a ton of dialogue, but most importantly, it's almost like a little date, considering once you infect the security system, you sit down to eat with Takamura. He's disgusted with the food as always,
What is this?
but it's still awesome getting to sit down with him again. Here you can offer to go to the next mission with him, which will open up a ton of new dialogue you won't see otherwise. You can head straight to the recon and up a tower across the street from the industrial park holding the parade floats. As you sit and watch, Takamura spots a cat and tells you a story about the Bakaneko, a cat spirit that brings misfortune and can restore the dead back to life. He confesses that his grandmother told him many stories about different spirits, and this leads to V asking him where he grew up. The story is grim. I'll let him explain it himself.
Where'd you grow up, anyway?
I am from the slums of Chiba 11. Once when I was desperate to live there, bad memories washed away by time. I long only for the simple days of childhood.
My childhood? Let's see. Nights spent looking for a star. Any star. All dimmed by city lights. Silent lullabies sung by the flickering neon signs of Charter Hill.
I remember the chemical stench of the canal, where we boys washed our shirts. Corporate transporters sometimes passed through our slum, Arasaka selecting children, but only the clean ones.
Let me guess. So they could turn him into corpo soldiers?
Exactly. When they chose me, I felt I had won the lottery. In the army, I was given everything I lacked before: discipline, regular meals, and when I proved I was gifted, an education.
Did what you had to keep from going hungry.
I sense that you judge me, and yet you have no right to. Unlike you and your friend Mr. Wells, I was not arrogant. I did not take the easy path.
I actually tried both options, and no matter what you say, he says that he thinks you're judging him. This leads to a mild argument about the corporations. Takamura seems dead set on defending them, that they still bring stability to many. V argues that they also decided the fate of the children on his own colony, and tells him that she is free, that nobody owns her, and he should try it. This is the part where it seems really possible that he could leave Arasaka behind. He actually mentions having thought about becoming a nomad. You can tell him that it's never too late to change, and that makes it really seem like the possibility is there. He ultimately says you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but that excuse seems flimsy. He then tells you that Arasaka took Jackie's body and that they have the ability to make an engram from it, a sort of imitation personality that can be used to extract information, sort of like what you've got in your head with Johnny, but not as complex. What's interesting about this admission, though, is that he says the reason he couldn't tell you earlier was because he didn't know that he could trust you, but that now the circumstances have changed. This is a huge step in the relationship, as now it feels like you guys are really on the same page. Once you finish up that quest and start the next one, play it safe, you meet up with Takamura once again, and this time you can open up with a compliment telling him he looks like a million eddies.
Hey, Goro. Wow. You look like a million eddies.
Is that so? That is not how I feel. I ate what you call a scabbard.
Aha! Wow, what'd you think? Tasty?
Ask the people below.
You guys go over the plan to get to Hanako, and it's insane. He's actually planning to leap onto her float to meet with her face to face. Your job is to take out a few snipers, which sounds like the easy part by comparison. But I mean, let's be realistic. This whole plan was insane. It was totally insane. I remember my adrenaline was pumping the entire time during this quest because it just felt so risky and so brazen. Fighting Oda was difficult, to say the least, and the only thing that made it easier was that he would sometimes get a little glitched inside a storage container, and I'd have a moment to reacclimate, but in the end, we actually pulled it off. But of course, Hanako wasn't listening, so he ends up tasing her and kidnapping her. Not something I was expecting, but something I probably should have been. You just never know what the heck is going to happen in this game, you know? So when you meet up again, Takamura has Hanako at some abandoned apartment building, and he wants you to finally testify directly to her and tell her that you saw Yorinobu kill their father. Hanako seems completely unfazed and doesn't listen to a thing you say. Takamura keeps trying to convince her to play ball until you guys hear a noise, and well, guess what? Good old Yori sent in some soldiers to rescue his sister, and not much later you get sent through the floor and Johnny is urging you to leave Takamura behind. I couldn't do it though. That was my bae, and I thought if there was even a slim chance I might be able to romance that beautiful bastard, then damn it, I was going to save him. So I find my way back upstairs, and sure enough, he's still up there fighting. Hanako seems long gone, and the two of you shoot your way out of the building. What really upset me though was that after you make it out of the building, the chip starts acting up. And what does Takamura do? Says, we must go different ways. Really, Goro? Really? That's messed up, man. So, woo, that was a whirlwind, huh? There's more. I mean, there's a whole devil ending that this track basically leads you down, and I'll go over that shit show in another video, because it deserves its own video all to itself. The whole ordeal with Hanako, Yorinobu, and the complete lie of it all. I mean, how is it that such an honorable and decent man has absolutely no choice to leave his evil masters? You guys left my V, and all the other Vs out there as well, with a tragic and shitty ending if we fell in love with Takamura and decided to help him. We placed trust in his trust that someone in the Arasaka family might do the right thing, and in the end, V gets completely screwed. Does that mean that even though Goro had good intentions with you, that his loyalty to his masters was absolute? He could see nothing wrong with any of the curveballs that they threw our way?
You in on this?
In on what?
Saburo's comeback. Just spoke to his construct.
What?
He digitized his engram. Made copies. In case he died.
No, he would have told me.
Why? So you'd take your job as his bodyguard lightly?
Aryan.
Feel that, Goro? Night City just gave you another kick in the nuts. Run and start this time.
But no, I'll get back on track for now, before I go off on a tangent that I can't recover the topic of this video from. For now, we're going over Takamura and the romance that should have been, but never was. And I think this is about the time in the game where things change and Takamura is no longer a lone fox. They could have done things differently, that's for sure. Instead of falling right back into the fold with Arasaka after the apartment building, he could have stayed by himself. Or heck, you could have escaped together and then gone somewhere to have a romance scene. Honestly, there were so many points along the way that would have worked. Why the heck didn't they choose to use any of them? And I have to wonder why they added so many positive interaction choices that could even be taken as flirtations sometimes.
Compared to you, I do. You look good.
But then made it so it didn't really matter. It's almost as if they had planned to give him a romance, but then dropped the idea completely. I've also read that the main point of these dialogue options is to befriend Takamura, so that you can learn about Jackie being in Mikoshi. That's cool and all, but ultimately doesn't serve as much of a function. You can actually spin Jackie up in Mikoshi, but he is just a shadow of his former self. that's besides the point. Did they really add all of these friendly greetings in just to find out about Jackie? And they put so much work into his character and his role in the story too. I mean, you can go back and save him or leave him to die. And if you save him, he is there throughout the whole rest of the game. He comes to pick you up at Misty's. He helps you get Hanako at Yorinobu's residence. He is with you in Arasaka Tower. And even right before you enter Yorinobu's office, all unique dialogue along the way. Why put so much work into this character and not just throw us poor romance-thirsty gamers a bone? Literally, and let us romance him. What's one more scene where Takamura and V shack up in some cockroach-infested abandoned motel? Better yet, V could spring for one of those love motels with a heart-shaped bed, and they could order sushi, and Takamura could complain about how it tastes like sawdust and plastic. Come on, it would be preem. Ugh, I'm eye-rolling so hard right now. I mean, why is it that River was supposed to be my main romance option as a straight female, and yet all I want is this man, and I can't have him? It's cruel, really. I mean, I really have to wonder what CDPR was thinking with this idea that one size fits all. Sure, some people love River, but he was lukewarm to me. Sorry, it's just my opinion. Takamura, on the other hand, man, he got my motor rumbling, and I go through the whole game not realizing I can't even romance him. It was just such an absolute tease, because really, in a game with so much Japanese influence, where you can't walk down the street without hearing some lady talk at you over the loudspeaker in Japanese, or hearing about Arasaka, which is a Japanese company, the districts like Kabuki and Japantown, even the Cherry Blossom Market, is it so crazy to think that there might be a Japanese love interest? In reality, I think it sounds crazier to think that there wouldn't be. So, I'm going to make a plea here and ask that CDPR add in the option for a romance with Takamura. I'd still be upset if that shit ending followed up after I got my romance, but I'd at least feel like I wasn't so led on and cut out completely. And if that's not in the cards, what about the modding community? I bet you guys would be all over that. But even then, there's not going to be unique dialogue spoken by the voice actor. It's just incredibly frustrating. I really love this game. I mean, I have spent over 100 hours grinding away at it by now, but my first experience going with Takamura, being used like a retarded monkey by Hanako, and ending up on some space station with an asshole doctor making me work a damn cube over and over, only to find that I'm going to die anyway? Wow, man! I just feel like a part of me died in that moment. It was nice that Takamura visited me at the end of it all, but no matter what you choose, it's not good. I guess it's hard to reconcile how you feel about a game that goes so far out of its way to bring you down low, and I mean low, but then never tries that hard to bring you back up. You gonna tell me nobody thought, hey, this Takamura fellow is a great guy, I bet a bunch of people would love to romance him. Instead it's just, nope, you get nothing, you lose, good day, sir. I don't know. It took me like a week of moping after I beat the game for the first time, realizing that Takamura was never going to happen, that my ending was so beyond what I thought it might turn out to be. I still, to the end, thought I might be able to side with Yorinobu, to have him tell me the truth and have it make a difference, but none of it mattered. And what Hanako did to her own brother, what I helped her do, oh, it just made me sick to my stomach. And then to top it all off, realizing there was only one straight option for me and that he wasn't really that exciting, I really wondered if I was even going to keep playing the game after that. But eventually I got back into it and started working on the other plot lines and trying to see some of the other endings as well. But I won't deny there was some heavy disappointment, like heavy. And from the amount of people I've seen complaining about not getting a Takamura romance, I'm not the only one. I mean, why not even a fling? As a guy, you can have a fling with Meredith from Militech, but you can't even be bothered to throw us ladies a fling with Takamura? What if we slept together for the night and because he is just too damn honor-bound to serve the Arasakas, he tells you that he can't stay with you? I mean, that would be heartbreaking but understandable, and it would at least give us something. I just don't get why it's alright in some cases but not in others. Why make just one fling? But at the end of the day, I don't want a fling. I wanted to get with my Takamura and ride off happily into the sunset. Sure, I'd be a corpo shill, but what the fuck would my V care? I'd have my man, I'd have my chip removed, I'd be happy as all get out. But no, of course not. That's not gonna happen, right? So let's make this right. Make a DLC that gives us a date with Takamura-san. I want to see how he would be in the saddle. I need to know. Would he be kind of awkward at first, using some English expression he barely understands, and then go in for the kill? Or would he be all business, passion, and fire? I'm betting it would probably be a little of the first, and then a lot of the later. Ooh, man. And now I'm going to depress myself for another week as I wonder why they did this to me. No, you know what we need? I need to lift myself up and write some fanfic. Give me some ideas, guys. Seriously, where should it take place? Probably not the roach-infested motel. V's apartment? Maybe we can go to River's room. No, that would be in poor taste. I'm kidding. I'll have to think on it some more, but I'm definitely open to suggestions in the comments. How did you feel about the whole lack of a romance with Takamura? I'm sure some people weren't as smitten with him as I was, but I had it bad. The feelings have just sort of mutated into a bitter resentment after having spent a lot of time accepting that I'm never going to get my beautiful silver fox. Okay, I'm wrapping this up. Can't do it anymore. Too emotionally taxing. See you guys later.